Hello. Today we'll be looking at calculating the probability ratios for a tri-hybrid cross. We're going to be looking at 3 different traits exhibited by foxes. First, we're going to read through this question together and identify the key points that we need. So a wildlife park contains a pack of domesticated foxes that have been in captivity for several generations. That's just a bit of background information. A new male fox was captured and introduced to the female foxes and allowed to interbreed. That part is really crucial as it tells us that new traits are being introduced into the population. Right, so we're going to be using the variables b, t, and e for our traits, but you could use any other letters that you'd like. Just keep in mind that it's common practice to choose letters that clearly show uppercase versus lowercase. For example, we often use the letter A because you can clearly see the difference between lowercase a and uppercase a, but we don't use C's because it's really hard to differentiate the difference between lowercase e and uppercase e, other than maybe the size. Moving on, we will look at the phenotypes of the female, which are a red body color, a bushy tail, and pointed ears, whereas the male that's introduced has a gray body, a slim tail, and rounded ears. She has capital letters for all of her genotypes, meaning she's homozygous dominant, and her trait is dominant to his traits, which are all lowercase. So her genes are going to be the dominant genes when passing on to offspring, which we're going to look at next. Okay, so we're assuming that all foxes in the parental generation are homozygous, and so we're looking at what the phenotype and genotype of the F1 generation would be, which is just the offspring of the parental generation. So I did a monohybrid cross here as a visual representation of what's happening with all 3 different traits, because all 3 traits are in the same gamete formation because they're all lowercase by uppercase. So we can see that it's producing big B, small b individuals 100% of the time. So our offspring are all going to be big B, small b, big T, big E, small e, meaning they're going to have red body color, a bushy tail, and pointy ears, which is the same phenotype as the mother, which makes sense because she has the dominant phenotype. We're going to look at what's going to happen if the F1 generation was to interbreed. We're going to do questions A through D, but feel free to pause the video and try them yourself. Part A, the probability of gray body and bushy tail and round ears. Note the use of and, which indicates the product, otherwise known as the multiplication rule. Gray body means small b, which is 1 over 4. The probability bushy tail is big T, or big T, small t, which is 3 over 4 probability. And then round ears, which is only small e, which is 1 over 4 probability. For the multiplication rule, you multiply the 3 different probabilities, or as many traits as there are, so it'll be 1 over 4 times 3 over 4 times 1 over 4, which gives top times tops and bottoms times bottoms, which is 3 over 64. The probability of an offspring to express red body color or bushy tail or pointed ears. Note that the use of or in this question indicates the addition rule, otherwise known as the sum rule. So red body color is big B, or big B, small b. Bushy tail is big T, small t, or big T, big T. And then pointed ears are big E, or big E, small e, which will be 3 over 4, and 3 over 4, So then our probabilities will all be 3 over 4, and then since we're using the addition rule, you're going to add them. So it'll be 3 over 4 plus 3 over 4 plus 3 over 4, which will add to 9 over 4. The part C, what is the probability of an offspring to express the traits gray body color or slim tail or pointed ears? We use both of the keywords here, and or, so we will use both the multiplication and the sum rule here. Gray body color is small b, slim tail is small t, and then pointed ears are big E, small e, big E. So for B, it'll be 1/4. T will have 1/4 as well, and then big E or big E small e will be 3/4. So we will add the body colors and the tail appearance. So that will be 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. And then we'll multiply that whole thing by the pointed ears, which is 3 over 4. And that gives 3 over 8 as our final answer. Part D, what is the probability of 4 pups simultaneously expressing the phenotype in Part C? Recall that in Part C we found that the probability of a single individual to produce this phenotype would be 3 over 8 probability, and therefore to find 4 pups at the same time, we're going to take that value, which is 3 over 8, and we're going to put it to the power of 4, which is the number of individuals that we want to know have it at the same time, multiplied by 100% to get a percentage, which will give us 1.98% of is the likelihood of that occurring all at once. Lastly, this is the completed tri-hybrid cross for our 3 traits in our foxes. Note that there are 8 different gametes formed by the mother and 8 different gametes formed by the father, which is our typical tri-hybrid cross pattern with heterozygous individuals. And then there are 64 different combinations of these gametes to produce 64 different genotypes, which is also what we can predict from a tri-hybrid cross of 3 different traits, 2 heterozygous individuals. We can use this as a simple way to check our work if you wish to produce one of these tables. Then you can use that. So for part A, I have an example where we had calculated 3 over 64, and in fact when you look and you look up in the table and find the corresponding genotypes to what we were hoping to find, there are 3 of them, which is the same as our calculated value. So it's just another way to do it, and this is totally something that you could do as well rather than doing 3 individual crosses.